What in the world? Was an elephant escaped and made its way to the second floor? It sounds as though it is coming directly from above me, but what? But that is in the storage room? No, wait, where was it? Where was it? It has to be here. Why would Monsieur Stella be in here clattering around in the dead of night? Archibald is up in the middle of night making some amount of noise. I might find out the extent of his behavior.
Monsieur Starling.
Oh, Detective, I was just...
Please, I eagerly await to hear what reason you give for being in the storage room at this hour.
A butler's job is never...
I am no fool, monsieur. You have spun enough stories this weekend.
Honestly, Detective, you don't trust anyone.
And with good reason.
My patience has all but run out. What are you doing in here?
I've been thinking about my time with the family.
I often think on fond memories, but it does not take me to a storage room in the middle of the night.
There are many memories held within these walls. I just wanted to see them again.
Monsieur Stella sounds as though he has plans on leaving the house. It sounded as though you were moving furniture in here.
I didn't realize the noise I was making.
Obviously. Were you preoccupied looking for another of the Major's medals?
Of course not. I already explained.
No, monsieur. You attempted to dupe me again into believing one of your stories.
Please, Detective. I know you know how it ended up in my possession. I was just trying to get some extra money together to send home. I can't lose this job. If Lady Van den Bosch found out...
Theft of a medal would be the very least of your problems.
You have done nothing but deceive and abuse your position in the house.
Deceive? I'm sorry that I lied to you about the medal.
Even when confronted, Mr. Stalin still remains steadfast and refuses to acknowledge what he has done.
Would you care to explain the fake telephone call? It was purely for my benefit, no?
Why would I fake a telephone call?
The same reason that Mademoiselle Rihanna dressed in the Major's jacket in the snow, to allow not only the guests but me to believe the Major was still alive.
I didn't kill him, Detective.
I know, monsieur, but I also know that you helped the one that did to cover their tracks.
It wasn't like that. We were just trying to help. She had no part in it.
Both you and Mademoiselle Rihanna risked your freedom to help Elizabeth.
You never let on. How long have you known it was her?
Monsieur, I am Detective Hercule Poirot. I only show my hand when I deem it necessary.
You will be taking her away then.
She will stand trial for what she has done.
But you don't know the full story. She is just a servant in this house. If she is arrested, that will be the end for her.
If Mademoiselle was only protecting herself, as you both have claimed, she will surely be found innocent.
You still have not explained what you were doing in here.
The Major's military storage box.
The one that stored his medals.
Amongst other things, yes.
And those other things are?
I had to protect her. If you found it when searching the study, you would have carted her off then and there.
Whatever it is you have hidden, it will not remain that way for much longer.
My Sebastian is obviously hiding something. I should perhaps conduct my own research for it instead of relying on his cryptic messages.
I need a moment.
Shall we see? Shall we see?
Oh.
One of the many saint... Okay. But abandoned in a box, why is the saint carving in here?
Huh.
Am I missing something? One of the many saint carvings from around the house abandoned in a box. Why is the saint carving in here? Well, that's enough. Now tell me where it
There
is.
is no use lying anymore.
I need a moment.
Wait, I thought we were looking for something in here, but there's nothing I can there's nothing I can interact with, and unless with this painting here. Okay, and we cannot leave. I mean, we need to make a connection. Okay. Detached saint carving.
Magnifique.
The detached carving may relate to a door in this room. This would explain Archibald's present. Secret room possible within storage room?
What a revelation!
Archibald must have hidden items in the secret room. I presume this exists within here, somewhere. Archibald had items in secret room. Inspect the storeroom. Yeah, but I did! Aha, a hidden room. It seems there are more secrets in this house to discover. A prestigious looking knife, likely belonging to the major. The last will and testament of the late Viscount. It seems he truly loved Angeline. Declaration. I declare that I, Viscount Edwin van den Bosch, am of sound mind. This last will express my wishes without undue influence or duress. Article 1. In the event of my death, I hereby appoint my wife Cassandra van den Bosch as the executor of the van den Bosch estate, and I leave the remaining wealth held in the van den Bosch name to my only daughter Angeline van den Bosch. Any outstanding debts, expenses of my last illness, funeral expenses, and administration costs are to be paid from the Van den Bosch account and the National Bank of Belgium. To my daughter Angeline, you are the apple of my eye and the brightest star in the sky. Never allow your light to fade for even a moment. To my wife Cassandra, thank you for the many joyous years. We have laughed, we have loved, and we have brought the most precious of gifts into this world together. I trust that you will protect her and prepare her for a future full of opportunities and hope. Viscount Edwin van den Bosch, Monsieur Victor. Ah, yeah. Okay. Okay, let's start with the save, maybe? Or
Oh.
expensive looking lighter. It looks to have unfortunately been through a war. Come, my little Grossens, I believe we already know something about this mystery. The Major's military service box. It contains letters and keepsakes.
Aha.
Okay. Lighter will used. War map, empty canteen. The Major's lighter.
I must take a different
No?
approach if I am to... I must act on thought and fact.
If I don't know.
Things are beginning to become...
The murder weapon has been found. Elizabeth must have used this in the study. Major's knife is the murder weapon. Talk to Archibald. And one more connection that we can make.
I should not be surprised by my own skills of deduction.
This lighter must belong to the Major. The army symbol all but confirms it, but don't I already have this in my possession? Military lighter? Major's lighter.
The pieces of the puzzle are finally...
The lighter I found in the military box is only the Major's, meaning the other one is not. Why? Okay. But there's only one person that was in the army as well. Lighter from the garden wasn't the Major's. Talk to Archibald.
There is no use lying anymore.
When I expected the garden yesterday, I found a lighter I assumed belonged to the Major.
He always had his regiment lighter that he received in the war on his person.
And yet, it was not his regiment emblem that was engraved on it.
My father's. It must have fallen out of my pocket. You still have it, detective.
Monsieur, you have stashed evidence, manipulated a crime scene, obscured my investigation, and yet it is a lighter that you worry about most?
If it is my path to end up behind bars for what I have done, so be it. It is Elizabeth that you cannot allow to be locked up without the truth being told. I have heard how you fought for that young maid before. Fleurette, is it? I only ask that you do the same for Elizabeth.
All of the cases differ greatly in severity. I can envision the similarities in how Mademoiselle Elizabeth will be treated by those in position of authority or social standing even before she is trialed. It is my oath as an officer of the law to uphold justice and fairness. Mademoiselle must be given the chance to prove her innocence before the courts as any other suspect. The absent murder weapon.
You found it.
Even the secret area that has been created here is not concealed enough to stop Detective Hercule Poirot.
I don't like how he is talking about himself in third person. It's kind of stupid. And pretty sure in books he never did that.
I couldn't just leave it at the scene for you to find.
The Major was killed by his own knife. The knife that protected his life during the war would eventually be the one that ended it.
It was in his holster when he attacked her. He had hold of her arm. What else was she meant to use to get him off of her?
I cannot imagine the Major would have have given his knife up easily. She must have been in close proximity to reach it. Perhaps he did it like her, as she claims.
She didn't plan any of it, Detective. She was only defending herself.
That is what Mademoiselle told you?
She did, and I believe her. You think you knew the Major, but you had no idea. He was a monster and had more secrets than all of us combined.
That may be true, but that does not excuse what she has done.
Put yourself in her shoes for a minute. If a man like that had attacked me the way he did Lizzie, I would have done a lot worse to him.
Mademoiselle Elizabeth has told Monsieur Stellan a version of the events that suggests she was attacked by the Major. I struggle to believe that she would make such a story up, but then I also did not believe she could do such thing as commit murder.
I need a moment.
To make connections. Okay, Archibald claims the Major attacked Elizabeth. Yeah, with what do I connect it? Lighter from the garden belongs to Archibald. Archibald was in the garden.
Magnifique.
If the only thing I found was Archibald's lighter, he must have collected something else. What else did Archibald collect from the garden? Archibald collected something dropped from the window.
I cannot see the logic in this.
No.
I must take a different approach if I am to... Come, my little grey cells.
Yeah, did not... Okay.
Another success.
Archibald dropped the murder weapon from the window, collected it, and then hid in the secret room. Archibald dropped the knife out the window. Talk to Archibald.
There is no use,
Is that what you saw in the garden that night? It was you that I saw in the garden that night.
When you asked me yesterday about seeing someone out there, I thought the game was up.
That does not explain what you were doing out there.
When Lizzie took me to the study, the knife was still in the Major's chest, and I knew I had to get rid of it. I dropped it out of the window, knowing no one would be going outside. It was fine for the time being, but I couldn't risk it being found when the snow melted.
So you collected it under the cover of darkness and stowed it away in here where you thought no one would find it.
After your questioning in the pantry, I knew you were onto something, and I couldn't leave it here.
And where did you plan on moving it to?
Honestly, I don't know.
Collecting the item and hiding it to save Elizabeth, he must truly want to protect her from the law. Yeah, now what?
There is no use.
I have one last question. Why?
Why what? Why I would risk everything to help Lizzie?
Exactement.
Because she is family. If you were in that position, you would do the same.
I can assure you, monsieur, that I would not.
Then perhaps that says something about you, Detective. I would do anything for her, for any of my staff.
even if it means crossing the boundaries of the law.
Without question.
The length that Monsieur Stelling would go to protect someone he considers family is admirable, but when those lengths break the very laws that are in place to protect the innocent, they cannot be ignored. Ask that once your morning duties for the ladies of the house are complete, Mademoiselle Rana and yourself wait in the staff quarters.
Aye, detective, but please, you have to help Lizzie. It was all an accident. She doesn't deserve to spend the rest of her days behind bars because of that man.
If she is put behind bars, it is because that is what the courts have decided upon.
Detective, you can't be so cruel.
It is not cruelty, monsieur. It is the law.
After all these further revelations, my mind is as busy as Monsieur Goulet's chocolate shop. I have a lot of the pieces of the puzzle to decide why Elizabeth killed the Major. Now I must allow my little grey cells to put them together. After finding those documents in the hidden room, things are starting to fall into places as to why Elizabeth may have killed him. Well, as a revenge for her husband? Maybe?
The pieces of the puzzle are fine.
The Major's financial struggles must have left him in need of a source of income. Who could the Major have turned to into his time of need? The Major was desperate for a well-paid job.
I should not be surprised by my...
The Major needed the job to go ahead. It was the only way to guarantee money in his pocket. What could he do to ensure the job would be complete? The Major needed to ensure the job was done.
Is there something? Order and method. That is the way to solve... Some would say a lucky guess.
To secure his payment, the Major must have ordered the attack at the strikes. What were consequences of the Major ordering the first attack? Luke was killed.
Things are beginning to become clearer.
The Major's action unfortunately led to the death of the Luke, and all for greed. Who would have been most affected by this?
What a revelation!
Elizabeth has probably lost more than anyone else involved. She may have sought her revenge. Elizabeth was possibly seeking revenge.
I cannot see the logic in this. I must act on thought. This will not get me any... I must act on thought.
Well, I don't know. These two. The Major killed prisoners of war.
Some would say a lucky guess. I would say
This information wouldn't have destroyed his reputation if unveiled the strong motive for blackmail. Elizabeth doesn't seem like the vengeful type, but all signs are pointing at her for her seeking revenge for her beloved Luke. He was being blackmailed for over war crimes. If I'm to confront Mrs. Elizabeth, it must be at my best and my little grey cells at their most alert. It is time to at least try and rest. I have no time to wallow in my lack of sleep. I must confront Mrs. Elizabeth, and hopefully finally know the truth of what took place.
Detective Poirot, I'm glad you're awake.
Bonjour, mademoiselle. It has certainly not been a night of peaceful sleep. There is something that we must discuss.
Please, detective, I'm not sure I can take any more surprises like last night.
I'm afraid this may be the most upsetting of them all.
You have found Felix's killer, haven't you?
I have. And the guilty party will certainly come as a shock.
I take no great pleasure in telling you this is Mademoiselle.
Detective, please.
It was Mademoiselle Elizabeth that was behind the Major's death.
You must be mistaken. Elizabeth could not do such a thing.
I assure you I am not. It is something I spent much of last night deliberating. When you spoke of the telephone lines being out of order, it made me question the conversation I thought I had heard Monsieur Sterling make with the Major before connecting the call to him.
But it hasn't been working all weekend.
Exactement, mademoiselle. That is when I knew I had once again been lied to.
When on my way to speaking with Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Rihanna, I met Mademoiselle Elizabeth.
She was meant to be resting in the staff quarters. She has not been well.
I am afraid that was yet another lie, orchestrated to keep her from incriminating herself.
Why would you think that, detective?
I only managed a few words with her before we were quite abruptly interrupted by Monsieur Sterling.
I must admit, he has a habit of speaking over the other staff.
It was much more than merely disturbing our conversation. It was done with the intention to prevent Mademoiselle saying something that she should not.
So, Elizabeth killed Felix, and then Archibald helped her cover it up?
In its simplest form, oui. I have heard it directly from the horse's mouth.
You have spoken with Elizabeth already? Did she admit to it?
Not Elizabeth, but Monsieur Sterling.
You were not walking last night by the tremendous amount of noise coming from the storage room?
I wasn't. What were you doing in there, detective?
It was Monsieur Sterling that I found in there. I was taken by some surprise to hear anyone awake at that hour.
What on earth was he doing?
He claimed he was merely reminiscing of his time with the family.
You don't believe him?
It did not take long for me to uncover the truth of why he was there, and the location of the Major's murder weapon.
Did you know of the hidden area within the storage room?
Hidden area?
A room that held all of the Major's secrets.
I had no idea. Did you discover the reason for his blackmail?
I did. Were you aware he was dishonorably discharged from the army?
Dishonorably? What does that mean?
I will not hide the truth from Mademoiselle, but I will try to and be as delicate as possible with the news of the Major's prior actions. I'm sure you're aware of Monsieur Zacharias' troubles he faces from his time in the war?
Yes, Gideon told me about the conversation you had. It is really quite upsetting.
Zachariah was adamant of the Major's cruelty during the war, but the extent was not known until now. He killed a number of prisoners, men that were friends of Zachariah.
Surely not. He would not do such a thing. They must have been trying to escape.
I am afraid not. They were in fact unarmed.
Oh, detective.
It is the reason he was discharged, denied his military pension, and I believe the reason he fled England.
He had been such an important part of my life for so long, but I feel like I hardly knew him.
Monsieur Sterling was adamant of Mademoiselle Elizabeth's innocence.
Innocence? You said it was she that killed him.
It was her hand that held the knife, but he was quite insistent it happened in self-defense.
In all of the years I have known her, she has barely even raised her voice. I cannot believe she would do something like that out of malice.
The whole truth cannot be known until Mademoiselle Elizabeth has told her story.
I allowed my perception of her character to conceal any thoughts of her involvement. It seems I am not the only one. The time has come to confront Mademoiselle Elizabeth.
Will you allow me to be present?
I think that is an excellent idea. I hope your presence will calm her and will perhaps allow her to speak more freely.
Please, Detective, I know she has done a terrible thing, but I beg of you to give her the time to explain herself.
I will offer Mademoiselle Elizabeth the fair trial that she deserves, as I would with any suspect.
Thank you, Detective Poirot.
Would you bring Mademoiselle Elizabeth to the study, where we will not be disturbed?
Of course, I'll find her immediately.